On today's episode of the Locked On Syracuse Podcast, I spoke to the head coach of Heritage High School in Palm Bay, Florida, Mykel Benson. He is the coach of recent 2026 Syracuse football commit, top 80 in the country, Demetres Samuel. He can do it all. I can't wait for you guys to listen to this one. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions apply. And guys, Coach Mykel Benson went all into about Demetres Samuel's work ethic, how he got into football, his upbringing, and of course, why he committed to Syracuse, and his relationship with Fran Brown. All that and more on today's episode of Locked On Syracuse. It starts right now.
You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everyone, into the Locked On Syracuse podcast. I'm Jackson Holzer. Thank you for making us your first listen of every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And Syracuse football recently got a top 80 recruit in the country for 2026, Demetres Samuel. And we're joined by a very special guest, Mykel Benson, the head coach of Heritage High School in Palm Bay, Florida. He is the coach of Demetres Samuel. Coach, I'll just start off pretty broad here. How did you meet Demetres?
Actually, I kind of knew him kind of almost his whole life. I'm actually born and raised from Palm Bay, and his parents are really well involved in the Palm Bay Little League or the Melbourne Little League around here for football. So I kind of known him for a long time. And then he ended up playing for me last year as my first year as a head coach at Heritage High School.
Awesome. And in those interactions, was it clear right away that he always wanted to be a football player, or is he involved in any other sports?
He runs track and he plays basketball, but you can tell football is his natural born gift. His little brother is just as good as him, so it probably won't be the last time you hear that last name. It's going to be around for a while, but he is very, very talented when it comes to football, but basketball, he's just as talented as well.
Well, awesome. Maybe he can walk onto the Syracuse basketball team. We got a pretty good basketball program, so why not? More talent, the better, right? So what separates Demetres from any player that you've coached before, but also as a person?
Man, as a player, you have, I think in the world of football, man, you have like this little circle of special talent. And when I say special talent, like they go through the game with such ease. They understand what you're trying to do as a coach and translate it to the field. And it makes them look like they're playing in slow motion, but they're moving 100 miles per hour. And he has that ability. And that's how I kind of sell him to coaches, because when you watch his film, he ran a 10.7 on the track or a 10.5 on the track. But when you watch his film, it looked like he's just kind of jogging, but he's just that good. But as a person, he's well raised. He has great parents, respectful kid, 3.0 GPA. You can't ask no more from a student athlete,
Got it. And when did you realize that Demetres had the capability to go Division I?
I watched him because he didn't play his freshman year. He was at another school his freshman year. And I knew he was special then. But when he played with us last year and when he started returning the punts and just making plays consistently, on the defensive side and the offensive side, that's when I knew he has a special talent. And, of course, he already has the body frame for it. But his natural ability is out this world. And it's only going to get better because he has 2 more years. So
right. And Demetres, right now he's listed as an athlete. What position would you peg him as? Because he's kind of an athlete, defensive back from what I've read about him. Can he kind of just do it all out there?
He could do it all for sure, but I'm pretty sure at the next level he's going to be playing DB. But I tell everybody he is just as talented at wide receiver. His favorite player is Marvin Harris Jr., and he runs routes just as good as him, and he catches the ball, goes up and get it at the highest point. So he's pretty special on both sides. But I think at the next level, where his money is going to be made at is going to be on the defensive side.
Got it. And I think of a two-sided athlete there. It's the prototypical one is Travis Hunter from Colorado. So
he compares kind of close to him. I'm not even going to lie to you. He's that talented. He can do it. He has the win. He has the want to go play both sides. If you want him, if you asked him to play wide receiver and DB in college, he would do it and would not want to come off the field like Travis Hunter. That's what type of athlete he is. There's not too many of them around. I know when I played in high school, that's how we were. We didn't want to come off the field. Now kids only want to play, I'm only on a defense, a guy. But now, it's a rare breed when you got kids that do not want to come off the field.
And how often do you use him as a wide receiver, even though you said he's projected as a defensive back?
Last year, we sparingly used him, and every time he caught the ball, he was scoring. But we used him a lot more during towards the end of our schedule into the playoffs. We didn't use him that much. We didn't use him as much as I should have going into the playoffs. But he's going to be a big part of our offense this next year too.
Awesome. And regarding Demetres Samuel, top 80 recruit for Syracuse in 2026. What are some of his biggest strengths? You kind of alluded to it, but can you go a little bit further on them?
His biggest strength is knowing the game, his knowledge that makes everything slow down for him. His leadership that now, he's going to be a junior next year, but as a sophomore, he had a very, very good leadership. And also he was under a veteran team this past year that the system that we run here is pretty complex. So once he gets to college, he's going to be able to, run those college defense, the split field coverages and all that stuff. And he's going to understand the game. That's what makes him, stand out the most, and it's just God-given ability. I mean, that just kind of takes over at the end of the day. But his knowledge and wanting to learn more about the game and trying to get down more techniques and his work ethic, it's really, really a high drive.
What are some things that he does with that work ethic? Like what separates him in that regard? Lifting weights, catching passes, all that. Is there anything special that he does?
Yeah, of course. He's going through the daily grind. He's doing the 7-on-7 now with a team. I think the 24K team. So he's kind of going around. Of course, he's doing his off-season training with us, and then he does a little bit more with his trainer on the weekends, I believe. So he has that drive, and you can tell he's putting in the work. Is like I said, you never see him really like tap his head and say, I'm done, I'm tired, take me out. He's always wanting to get better. And then when he is tired, he still have that leadership ability to do whatever he needs to do.
When you're hiring for small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. And guys, I use LinkedIn all the time to try to find the latest opportunities available, because LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates, so easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. LinkedIn is constantly finding ways to make the process easier. They even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're joined by Mykel Benson, the head coach of Heritage High School in Palm Bay, Florida, here on the Locked On Syracuse podcast. He is the head coach of recent 2026 Top-80 commit Demetres Samuel, one of the biggest recruits Cuse Football has had in many, many years, and he is the first of the 2026 class. We've talked a lot about Demetres' strengths and where he can excel at the next level in Division I. Still has got 2 more years left in high school, though. How can you see Demetres improve?
I really just getting a little. I mean, I don't even want to say bigger because he's already 190 at 6'2", 6'3 and a half, right, or 6'2 and a half, 6'3. Really just continuing to take in knowledge and continuing to work on his craft. As a football player, you can never get too much of that. Never get too much of film. You can never get too much of working, doing the fundamentals right, because at the end of the day, that's where it kind of goes all into. When you're tired, your fundamentals have to kick in. So just kind of working on and being consistent. Being consistent is a big key for D1 and to get into the pros. So
I'm assuming he has pro aspirations, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right. So what are some challenges that Demetres has had to overcome?
Honestly, I don't know. I think he's kind of been smooth sailing right now. Like I said, he's a 3.0 kid. He's not really, he's a really good kid in the school, so he doesn't get in trouble. So if you're talking on the outside of football, it's kind of been smooth sailing from me looking on the outside. Of course, everybody has their own battles, but as a football player, I don't think he has any challenges. I think his biggest challenge is to continue to prove itself. You know what I mean? I think that's going to be his biggest challenge, and to stay consistent.
Right. So what do you think Demetres' potential is ultimately? What's his ceiling?
Being the best player that ever came through Syracuse football. I'm telling you.
There's been some good ones.
I know. He that's how high his ceiling is, and it could get it's very, very high. And I talk very highly of him because that's how he carries himself and that's how he works. So I wouldn't talk about anybody that doesn't put in work. But he has the potential to do that and be one of the best in Syracuse football and potentially into the league.
Well, Syracuse football, you mentioned that he likes to patent his name a little bit off Marvin Harrison Jr. Well, Marvin Harrison Sr. went to Syracuse University. Also, the 3-headed monster in the backfield. You got Jim Brown, you got Ernie Davis, you got Floyd Little. But hey, you know what? If Demetres Samuel is anything close to those guys, I would say that is definitely a successful college career. Also, Donovan McNabb.
Right.
And, there's been recent secondary players, as you said, he projects to be more in the secondary, right? Andre Sisto, currently with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Tro Williams, Obi Melifonwu with the Detroit Lions. So there has been guys to come through Syracuse that, aren't necessarily the Hall of Fame, Jim Brown level, but, you said it, sky's the limit with Demetres Samuel. So now kind of speaking about a Syracuse perspective here, how did he arrive at this decision so soon? He's the class of 2026. How did he just say, I'm going to commit to Syracuse right now?
Honestly, I think it's more so of the relationship, how comfortable he feels with the coaches. And then that's the thing that I teach my guys here. It's not about the logo. It's not about, the big Power 5. It's about how comfortable you're going to be. And if the system fits you, then, stay at home. I mean, it kind of seems quick for a lot of people, but when you feel like it's home, and like I told him, I said, don't feel bad at feeling like this. And then, because of course you have 2 more years in it's going to even grow even more because I'm pretty sure they're going to try to keep you close and keep you around and make sure you're feeling a part. So I think it's the relationship of everything that happened, just what's going on.
And do you know from just an outside perspective, what were some of the qualities that he was looking for when deciding on a school?
It just has to be the being comfortable for him. Is he going to be okay when he leaves home? And, he's from Florida, he's in New York. Are you going to be okay being all the way up in New York in the cold? Do you feel comfortable in the area? Do you feel comfortable in the system? Does it have your major? Does it have, those are the things that I know that we've talked about. I know that his parents has talked about it. Those things that, like the football aspect, that is almost the last thing to look at when you look at recruiting. It's okay, I feel comfortable on the outside, but now football wise, do I fit this system? Well, do I see myself playing right now? Do I have to sit behind 4 juniors? Those are the things that we look in when it comes to football side. But at the end of the day, if you're a guy, you're a guy. You're going to get on the field.
And for Demetres, you kind of hinted at it with, is it the right major and everything like that? What does he plan on majoring when he comes to Syracuse? Do you know?
I do not know that yet, but I know he's in honors classes, so he has a bright future. He's in sports med as well. So I don't know if that's something that he wants to do here. I know because that's what he's in here at our school. So I don't know if that's what he wants to keep continuing doing.
Well, I know that Syracuse certainly has a solid sports medicine program. They also got sport management, sport communications. We got it all. Anything sports.
Yeah. Right.
He came to the right place. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. We're joined by Mykel Benson. He is the head coach of Heritage High School in Palm Bay, Florida. He is the head coach for recent 2026 Syracuse commit, top 80 overall in the country. That's right, one of the best recruits in recent years in Demetres Samuel. Thank you so much, Mykel. Just some more questions here for you. We've kind of talked about this, or not really. We haven't really gotten this part, but he still has 2 more years left in high school. How do you keep him motivated?
I don't think I have to keep him motivated. I think with everything that's going on with him, with this process of recruiting, it has to be motivating in itself. I mean, like I said, consistency is going to be the key. And like I tell my kids all the time here, even though you got that offer, it doesn't mean that, they can take it away at any time if you're not being consistent. So that's his motivation right there. So I don't have to keep him motivated. That offer, that scholarship, that is his motivation because it's a year in, year out thing. It's a business, and don't fall in love and don't think that you have a 4-year scholarship. Even when you get there, it's still not a 4-year scholarship. It's a 1-year annual renewal type of thing. So those are the things that kids don't really know. But, that should be your motivation enough.
Do you know how firm Demetres' commitment to Syracuse is, given that he is a 2026 recruit and there is, at this point, there's no signing the national letter of intent. It's all verbal.
I think he's very, very firm with it. Like I said, he has that. I think the comfortability with the coaches. I think that's very, very big.
Okay, and what player specifically now does he remind you of, aside from Marvin Harrison? And Travis Hunter?
Ooh, well, you took the second one out of me because that's who I was going to compare him to because he's that athletic when it comes to football, and I don't know too many two-way players. And like I said, I don't know if that's what Syracuse are planning on doing because he doesn't really show a lot on his film as him playing wide receiver, but they'll see a lot these next 2 years for sure. But to compare him, he's like a Travis Hunter. Like he is unstoppable on the offensive side. He is unstoppable. Like he stops anybody. He's not scared to match up with anybody on the defensive side. So I think this year we're going to be able to move him around a little bit so people can't go away from him. And, match him up with the best player on the field and just make him like any other college does. They take their best player, defensive player, and put him on the best offensive player. And just like how Travis Hunter does, he's always on the best player, following the best player around. So that's my biggest comparison to him because he's tall and lanky like him. He's a little big. I think he's a little bit bigger than Travis already because, like I said, he's 6'2", 190, solid right now, and he's only going to grow from here.
Awesome. And I know that you haven't gotten the chance to meet Coach Fran Brown yet, but if and when you get that chance, what are you looking forward to in that meeting?
Man, I just want to, pick his mind, pick his brain. And I know it's a new transition for him as well. Just like I said, I'm not new to it, but it's my second year going into a head coach. So I like to pick, coaches' brains and just kind of build that relationship with them and see what he's trying to. Of course, I know that the end goal is at the school, but what is his short-term, long-term, goals for Syracuse,
So what has Demetres said about Coach Fran Brown?
He can't stop talking about him. He loves him. And I think, like I was saying, when you can talk to a coach without, when a teenager can talk to him like he's talking to one of his friends, you can tell that he's really, really, really comfortable with them. He loves the conversation they're having. Or they had when he went up there. He's said a lot about him that he can't wait to go back up there for the spring game. I'm pretty sure he's going up there for the spring game, I think. But it's nonstop. I mean, Coach Brown this, Coach Brown that, and it's all good things though.
How often are they in communication?
That I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, Coach, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think you guys got a good one. And I think it's a very, very strong commitment. And hopefully you guys follow him along throughout the season because he's going to have another big year. You'll see why he's going to be at the end of the thing. He's going to be the top five recruit in the world, in the nation.
Well, if he rises to top 5, and assuming he obviously stays with that commitment to Syracuse, I would have to do a lot of research and digging to find the last time Syracuse got someone that good. It's been a long time since Syracuse has gotten a top 80 recruit in the country, and that's why this is so special for a lot of us. Coach Fran Brown has done a fantastic job on the recruiting trail so far. It seems like every single day he's landing a commitment. This is the big one, though, from the class of 2026. Demetres Samuel, top 80 recruit in the country. Thank you so much to head coach Mykel Benson. He is the coach of Demetres Samuel. He is the head coach of Heritage High School in Palm Bay, Florida. We wish you the best of luck on this coming season. And, of course, we wish Demetres the best of luck as well. Coach, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.